Hello and welcome. I'm Amritanshu Rai. You're watching Constitutionally Yours on Raj Sabha TV from this beautiful campus of Gauhati High Court, Old Building. In this program, we make an attempt to demystify the provisions of the Constitution. And today, we will take up issues relating to Assam. Joining me in this endeavor are a distinguished panel of guests. Justice B.K. Sharma, retired judge of the Gauhati High Court, nominated by the Chief Justice of the Gauhati High Court. I have with me Mr. Siddhartha Bhattacharya. He is member of Legislative Assembly, Gauhati Assembly, nominated by the Speaker of the Gauhati Legislative Assembly. And I have with me Mr. Sherman Ali. He is member of Legislative Assembly, Assam, has been nominated by the Leader of Opposition, Assam. Getting back to the issue that we'll be discussing, Article 275, that is grant in aid for states in need of assistance, as it appears in the Constitution. Such sums as Parliament may by law provide shall be charged on the Consolidated Fund of India in each year as grant in aid of the revenues of each such states as Parliament may determine to be in need of assistance, and different sums may be fixed for different states. Besides having special protection, Northeast and especially Assam has not really managed to get to the goal that this provision sought to catalyze. Now, how do we deal with this provision? How do we go ahead? To probe this whole aspect, I will, first of all, sir, I would like to, the whole provision is to basically protect the entire Northeast, provide for special money and other aspects for the entire Northeast. But the goals that we sought to achieve are nowhere in sight. And this has remained, the provision has been there for several decades now. How do you see this entire thing from here on?
As you have rightly said, it's a special provision provided for in the Constitution of India, Article 275. It provides apportionment of fund, a sum of amount, by a consolidated fund. A consolidated fund has been created, and under that, all the states, they get their portion as per the demand made. And further, for the purpose of development of the scheduled areas or the development of the scheduled tribes, further provision has been made to provide financial aid from that consolidated fund. And for the state of Assam, a special provision has been made to provide financial fund in respect of the scheduled areas and for the development of the scheduled tribes. There you will get under 6th schedule, entry 20 or paragraph 20, under that you will find that our autonomous districts, North Kasar Hill Autonomous District, Boroland Autonomous District, and your Karbi Anglong Autonomous District, these districts are there, and special provisions have been made by the Constitution for providing special protection to these areas. But as you have said that in spite of that special provision, whether Assam has been able to rise to the occasion or not. Now, making a law is one thing and implementation is another thing. Right. Lots of laws are made. Whenever a situation has arisen, to curb that situation, a law is framed. But unless there is proper implementation, they will know better because they are the masters of implementation. So unless and until the proper implementations are there, merely because some fund has been provided, that may not lead to the success story. That is
yes, sir, you would like to add to that. You are the implementer.
Well, we make the laws. We are the lawmakers as well. Basically, it is a question where the amounts or money that had been given to Assam has been able to transform Assam, as has been very rightly elaborated by Justice Sharma. Making law, providing money is one thing, but using that money appropriately and properly for betterment of economy of this region is another aspect. Now, I will not, just because I belong to a party which had not been in power in Assam earlier, so I will not make a comment stating that earlier there was no progress. There was progress, there were progresses. But I feel the way that money was used was not very proper, and because of that, Assam has economically remained backward. Money which was provided by earlier regimes were not used for infrastructural sector. It was used more for social welfare measures or for measures which were more prompted by not by economic reasons but by political reasons. So I feel that Assam, the amount of money that has been pumped into Assam, well, it is not insignificant. Sufficient money had been given, but I will say till date,
Implementation has been very...
implementation needs to be further boosted up.
Mr. Sherman Ali, on this.
Yes, I to some extent I agree to whatever has been said, but it is not correct to say that nothing has been done for the scheduled tribes or the people for which the fund was made. If we compare the development indices between 1951 or just after the independence and today, you will find a lot of change in the development. The literacy rate has been accelerated, the IMR, infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate has gone down drastically. Yes, we can say that the desired goal has not been achieved, or the purpose for which the fund was allocated has not been achieved fully, but we cannot deny that nothing has been done. Government of India was constitutionally bound to make special provision for the people who were lagging behind at the time of independence, and Government of India under those provisions, bindings of the constitution have made provision of this fund. I think that fund should continue, and at the same time implementation should be proper, improved, so that
In fact, this new government has brought in order to, in realizing they have brought out a policy of two-child norm for being a prerequisite for contesting local elections. That is keeping in view the various challenges before Assam. After having said that, I will toss the question to the, your question.
My question is to the entire panel. As recommended by the Finance Commission, for specific expenditures, stifle the state's autonomy in allocating resources according to their own priorities.
Stifle the state's autonomy to allocate resources according to their own needs.
As per the requirement, once the fund is provided for, it is the state assembly which is to decide how the fund is to be utilized. With as per the advice of the Council of Ministers and also the autonomous districts, autonomous council, as per the advice of the autonomous council, as per the advice of the Council of Ministers, the fund is to be utilized. Now, whether any consultation is made or not, that is the area to be looked into. Unless and until there is consultation with the person who is at the heart, at the center. Say, for example, Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council. As you have seen, lot of agitation is going on for recognition as scheduled tribes. Some of the tribes, they say we should also be recognized as scheduled tribes. Even now, the agitation is going on. And their contention is that when the funds are allocated, when the funds are distributed, these autonomous councils are never consulted. The state government of its own, they do it. That is the problem.
Yes, sir. Mr. Bhattacharya, you would like to respond?
I will second what Justice Sharma has said, that when a fund is allocated to a state, the state government, the party in power, it sets its priorities. A government may have a priority for infrastructural development. Some government may have priority in promoting education, primary education. So basically it depends on the party which is in power. And all political parties have their own economic models. They have their own method, or they have their own perceived notion how to develop the state. So I feel that now it's Niti Aayog, earlier it was Planning Commission. They allocate fund to proposals which is submitted before it by the state governments, and state government in their proposals prioritize the sectors where they want fund. And based on that, after discussion with the Planning Commission earlier and Niti Aayog now, the method has been changed now. Earlier it was the Planning Commission which would have the final say in allocating money. Now a different aspect has been brought in, a different approach has been brought in, and it will take some time to find out whether it has succeeded or no, it has bettered the condition. But I feel that some kind of monitoring is necessary. If you give money to me for a particular purpose, will you not want to know whether my money has, your money has been spent by me properly or not?
So monitoring is what your point is.
It's understandable.
Yes, Mr. Sharman Ali. The
Yes,
point, the question was very clear. Is it stifling the government, the state governments, from spending the way they want to?
No, it is not. I don't think this provision disturbs the autonomy of the states, because state government has full power, full autonomy to implement the way it wants. But I should add one more thing here. The constitutional provision of Article 275 was perhaps made to honor the obligations in the preamble to secure justice, social, economic and political, to establish equality of opportunity and status. After around 70 years after independence, I think Government of India should revisit the areas where the people are lagging behind.
Correct.
Because many reports have said that in addition to the scheduled tribes, scheduled caste, some other communities are there who are also lagging much behind. The main idea was to make give differential treatment to the unequal, so that the provisions of Article 14 to 18 and the preamble can be honored. Now, as per Sasar Committee report, the Muslims in India, they are much backward in many areas than the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes as well.
We'll go to the next question. Point well made, sir.
My question is to the judiciary. So, as per the 2011 census, we know that Mizoram has the highest population of the scheduled tribes. Now, Article 275 gives grants to the scheduled tribes of that state. So, as per the provision, we should have seen that Mizoram would have evidently received the highest number of grants in aid. But according to the data, we see that Mizoram is a frequently famine hit state, despite evidently receiving the highest number of grants in aid. Why is that so?
Yeah. Add to that, sir. Mizoram has achieved the maximum among all northeastern states.
And it has not been able to ensure the food security in respect of disaster management relief grant.
So what is the question?
My question is why it was not able to achieve, despite being the...
That I have already answered.
It's been answered.
Proper implementation.
It's
Provisions
the implementation
have been made,
issue.
Financial aids have been provided, but in spite of that, why we were lagging behind?
And
the
the
desired
judiciary in such matters is hard pressed for words to actually, go into the implementation part. They can monitor at best, but they are not implementers.
If an issue is brought to our notice
executive,
that this particular scheme has not been implemented as per the desired goal, and there we can intervene, the judiciary can intervene.
It's time for us to head into a break. When we return, we'll continue with the discussion. Welcome back. Discussing the special provisions for the northeastern states and the grant in aid that has been provided for all the states, specifically Assam. Yeah, the next question.
It is often said that Article 275 act as a lifeline for the states in financial matters. Instead of using it efficiently and raising revenue, states are totally dependent on these funds from the center. And also, should there be a proper guidelines or a fixed principle on which the funds will be granted to different states?
The Finance Commission merely recommends. It recommends based on its findings. Now, a Finance Commission goes to a particular state, say for the state of Mizoram, as has been pointed out in the earlier question. Now, it can recommend, it can say that for the development of the scheduled tribe, primary education in Mizoram needs to be further strengthened. But implementation is on the state government. It is the governments which basically spend the money, as has been very correctly pointed out by Justice Sharma. If there is an anomaly and which goes against the very basic aim of providing the fund, it can be brought to the notice of judiciary and it gets investigated into and judiciary makes its comments. It has been done time and again. There have been so many so-called scams. I will not say so-called because scams are scams anyway. Scams are scams anyway. In these cases, the judiciary has indeed intervened, and there is a role played by judiciary in seeing that these funds, these schemes are implemented properly and as per the aim for which it has been given.
Yeah. We'll go to the next question.
Sir, while we look that aids and grant are made by the Finance Commission, sir, mostly two criteria are taken into consideration. First, on the economic structure of the state to which the grant has to be made, and the other is, sir, on the respective needs. So, sir, when we look at reducing the fiscal imbalance throughout the states in a particular country, sir, what according to you should be the criteria on which?
You see, unless contrary is proved, the central government is always expected to be to have acted, I mean, with equal dimension, equal applicability. So when the Constitution itself provides, Article 275 itself provides with the financial aid on the basis of need, on need basis. So apportionment will have to be made. The central government will have to chalk out as to which state requires what, how much of money, which state requires this much of money. So this will have to be chalked out. And Article 275 itself has provided that for development of the tribal areas, tribal communities, and specially for Assam, Article 275 specially for Assam, a special provision for the development, upliftment of the tribal areas, and the scheduled tribes. So this provision having been made, and the central government being the custodian of the constitutional provisions, it will have to be implemented in the periphery of the Constitution, and unless it is implemented and if something is brought to the notice of the judiciary, then judiciary will definitely intervene in such.
So the question is parameters of grants. The parameters that he wants to understand that has been provided for in the Finance Commission. Can there be better parameters to ensure better implementation?
Obviously, obviously.
What could they be?
It can be more focused on areas where the economy will get boosted. Say, you can send too much of money on higher education. You can open up medical colleges, you can open up engineering colleges. But unless you have a better primary education, a secondary education, where will all these engineering colleges, medical colleges get inputs from? Unless you have a sound primary and secondary education, from where students with good academic records go up to for higher education. So it is a question of priority. Where do you give your priority? For infrastructural activities, unless you have good roads, if you put up an industry in an area where there is no roads or any kind of other communication system, then it will totally fail. So it is a question of priority. How do you give priority to which? And as I have said, generally people elect a government. We have elected governments in the states. People elect governments based on their perspective for development. And these governments, when they come into power, they implement whatever they have professed before electorate.
Yeah, you would like to add
It is
quickly,
not
sir.
true. It is not true that various considerations, various factors are not taken into consideration before allocating fund. Government of India, in fact, takes into consideration several factors, including the backwardness, population of a state or the population of that particular group, the various things, various factors. So, after they allocate the fund, it is the duty of the state government to prioritize the sectors where they will implement. So, it cannot be said that the government of India, without considering into the other factors, they just give funds. They make proportionate allocation on the basis of various factors.
Correct, sir.
That
Next question.
Sir, it was that should environmental considerations also taken into consideration?
Yeah.
Obviously, if we give, if we promote an environment, a industry which is polluting the environment, it will affect the life of citizens around, and then government have to spend more money on the health sector. So it is interrelated, and we have to take environment into consideration while allocating funds. Definitely we have to take environmental concerns into consideration while allocating funds.
Mr.
And
Sharma,
it is done then.
planning, this finance commission has already incorporated this environmental factor as a factor to allocate fund. That is already there. On the basis of the forest cover, depletion of forest cover, these things are already considered by finance commission while allocating fund to different states.
Okay. So you would like to, you would say you would like to add to the environmental aspect, because
That
that's
has
where,
already been answered, that
Yeah.
environmental aspect will
No,
have
but
to
do
be.
you see the states actually providing for environmental upkeep of the state?
In fact,
That's where the issue
in
is.
fact, although
has been provided for,
the
obviously.
provisions are already there
Yeah.
for protection of the environment, as Mr. Bhattacharya has said, that while installing an industry, the government will also have to see that environmental protection is there. But number of bricklane in Assam itself, number of bricklane industries came up, and the Pollution Control Board gave them certificate. Yes, you can go ahead. But ultimately it was found out that no, the bricklane permission, establishment of bricklane should not have been given because it has polluted the environment. That is also there.
So the implementation.
So as I have said, that whatever law you frame, ultimately implementation, if you not work with a high moral upgradation, implementation remains static and no amount of law can protect us.
So in the 7 decades that have gone by and the attempt to achieve a certain goal, so what I'm trying to probe is that the implementation has given the biggest setback to goal achievement as far as the onerous duty of these provisions are concerned. Is that so?
Well, it's a very loaded question, because I belong to BJP. We have come into power right now. Earlier, our party was not in power. So if I say nothing was done, then it will be making a statement on my political line. So I will not make that. Assam has progressed. It's not that Assam has not progressed. But as we have said, we all have agreed on one thing, that implementation is one aspect which needs to be bettered. And that is what this government is trying to do now.
Right. Do you see any problem with the provisions that are there in the constitution? Do you think that needs to be further tightened or focused to improve implementation?
Now, before going into that, I should say about this implementation side. In addition to implementation, proper prioritization is also required.
Planning.
You see, till today, even in these days, the literacy rate in some areas is too low. In the shore areas of Assam, the literacy rate is 17%. So we should prioritize that education should be the most prioritized sectors, most favored sector in the shore area. But that has not been done. Instead, if we construct roads, if we go for other things, that will not change. So lack of prioritizing the issues and proper implementation, yes, of course. And second, regarding you have said about is there any lacking? Yes. What I should feel is that already 70 years have gone by, so there should be a revisit in some areas, like say special treatment, reservation has been given to the some sections of people. But we have seen during the last 70 years that reservation policy has not achieved the desired goal, because the people, the group, the set of people, the group of people who are being favored, suppose a person has got into IAS after availing the facility of reservation.
You're talking of the creamy layer.
Yeah. But
That should
his
not be.
son is also
Yeah, yeah,
getting the same. So there should be this reservation. What I should feel, this special treatment. What I should feel should be on the basis of economic backwardness, not on caste basis. It should be, yeah.
So that's your, that's what you want to hear.
If I want, I mean, I can add one point. The beauty of Indian democracy is what? Beauty of Indian democracy is that every 5 years people get an opportunity to
Choose a new idea.
to choose a new idea to change. If you don't perform, you perish. And the beauty of Indian constitution, the Indian democracy is every 5 years people get that opportunity, whether a government has performed to their satisfaction, whether the priorities that a government has taken is up to their liking or not. I think in Indian democracy, the check and balances are well defined, and people are the ultimate rulers.
So the question that I would like you to answer is, there is a provision. This was well-meaning provision which was provided. Certain number of years have gone by. Do you think this provision needs to be further revisited and tightened in order to achieve goals which could not be achieved by certain changes? Is that what is required or not required?
It is required, and that has been done. You will appreciate that this planning commission, the 5 years planning of the earlier regimes, that was a borrowed constitution from USSR system.
Yeah.
Now, the present government feels that is not only outdated, that has not served its purpose, and that's why it has been
new
changed
system.
with Niti Aayog. So, it has been accepted and it has been
So the
taken
required,
care of.
what you're saying is the required dynamism is there in governance.
It is.
It is there.
It is there.
That's all we have time for in the show. We'll come back with a new issue and a new episode. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.